Hello again. My name is Dr. Courtney Dookie, your ADHD specialist. And today we're going to talk about the symptoms of ADHD. I think it's important that we learn these symptoms and seek to understand these symptoms. So, what are these symptoms that constitute ADHD? Well, let's look at the symptoms that are associated with inattention. One of the inattention symptoms is individuals often fails to give close attention to details or makes careless mistakes, oftentimes in schoolwork, at work, or in other activities. Number two, these individuals often has difficulty sustaining attention in tasks or to play quietly or to playful activities. They find it difficult to sustain attention in these engagements. Thirdly, in terms of inattention, these individuals often does not seem to listen when spoken to directly. So you're speaking to them and they are not listening. They zone out somewhere. They are somewhere else while you're speaking to them. They just wander away to La La Land, wherever that is. They just move away from there. The mental effort is gone while you're speaking to them directly. Number four, these individuals often does not follow through on instructions and fail to finish schoolwork or tasks that they've started. And for those who live with these individuals, sometimes in homes, you're married to them or they're a brother or sister, they will start multiple projects and they just don't finish them. And for students, they will start their schoolwork and then just not completing the task. They start the task, but there is no follow through in completing the task. And sometimes there are even difficulties in following through with the instruction given. And sometimes this is because the instruction is being given to them and they're not paying attention to it. So they don't even know what the instructions are. And that can be a difficult thing, especially in a relationship and interacting with these individuals. Also, individuals with this kind of a challenge with following through with instructions may oftentimes find it difficult in the workplace, not due to oppositional behavior in the workplace, but more so due to a failure to understand really what's going on. Another symptom of inattention is these individuals often has difficulty organizing tasks and activities. They're very disorganized. They have problems with time management. They're not following through. Their environment can be disorganized. It seems that they're just running and not really reaching anywhere. They're like a hamster wheel. And the things around them, their brain is disorganized because they have so many different tasks doing and they're not completing these tasks. And their environment, you can see evidence within the environment of this level of disorganization. Also, these individuals tend to often avoid or dislike, or even they are reluctant to engage in tasks that require them to have sustained mental effort. So if these individuals know that this task or this thing will require them to pay attention, to sustain that attention, and they will oftentimes avoid that because they dislike it. They're reluctant to engage in that because to pay that intent and intentional attention is something that is difficult for them. Another challenge with inattention for individuals with these symptoms of ADHD is that these individuals, they are often easily distracted by extraneous stimuli. In other words, something moving in the environment, there's a shift in the environment. They're easily distracted by these stimuli. So sometimes that's why in school, they will have children sit in areas that are least distracting, or even adults in the work environment, they often get distracted so easily. So they have to be in an area in order to do the work they need to do. They have to be in a place with least amount of distraction. Another symptom of inattention as it relates to ADHD is that these individuals, they're often very forgetful in daily activities. Doing chores, they forget they were started and forget that they were doing it. If they're doing the dishes and they forget they're doing the dishes. They're doing their homework and they forget they're doing their homework. They easily forget things. Even they're running errands and they forget that they're running errands. They forget that they need to run the errands. So these are areas where they struggle with. They struggle with remembering appointments. They will set the appointment, but forget about that appointment. So these are different symptoms that individuals with inattentive challenges as relates to ADHD oftentimes deal with. The second category of symptoms has to do with hyperactivity and impulsivity. And when you think of hyperactivity and impulsivity symptoms, one of these symptoms that people with ADHD tend to demonstrate is that they are fidgeting. They fidget with toys. They fidget with their hands. They fidget with their feet. They're always moving around in their seats, and they become almost uncomfortable. Oftentimes they will say to me, man, it feels so difficult to sit in the seat. I feel like there's something in my body. There's a motor in my system pushing me just to move around. I need to get going. So they're often fidgeting and tapping and moving around. These individuals also, they often leave their seat leave their seats in situations when remaining seated is what is required. So children in school, it is required for them to sit, but they will leave their seats. And we see this in adults as well, where the requirement is for them to sit down, but they find it difficult to sit still. Or they may try to sit still, but it's very uncomfortable for these individuals. Another symptom of hyperactivity, impulsivity, is that these individuals, especially children, they will run about, they move around, they're climbing in situation where it is inappropriate. They are just moving and doing things. For adults and adolescents, they will feel restless. They may not run around, but in their body, they just feel a sense of restlessness. To stay still is difficult, and man, they will describe it like, wow, there's something in me. I just feel not at ease. I just feel restless. Another symptom of hyperactivity and impulsivity is that these individuals often they're unable to pay attention or to engage in activity quietly. They find it difficult to be quiet. So that stillness, that moment of calmness, that is difficult for them to do. They find it hard to participate. They're almost unable to play or to engage in activities quietly. Another symptom of hyperactivity, impulsivity, is these individuals are often on the go. They just like energize a body. They're driven like a motor. They're just going, unable to be still, unable to stay one place. They're just going like they've been driven by a motor. And actually, a lot of my clients, that's what they will mention. Man, I feel like I am being driven by a motor. I'm just going. I can't sit still. I just have to keep going and going and going. Mm. And another symptoms is for these individuals, like kids, especially for kids, children, they will oftentimes blurt out answers. So the questions asked, and they're not giving anyone else the chance to answer those questions. They blurt out the answer. Adults and adolescents tend to talk excessively. They talk out of term. They're always talking. They're always going and going, and they will always sometimes interrupt others midway their conversation. So you're talking with them and they just cut you off there. It's not they don't mean to be disrespectful, as sometimes I know it can be interpreted. as that they're being disrespectful. They don't intend to be disrespectful. It is that it's like there's something going on inside of them, and they find it difficult. Outside of being trained to do it, they find it difficult to withhold their answer, to withhold their comment until the other person is finished speaking. So they will cut the conversation and interrupt the individual who is speaking. Another challenge with individuals with ADHD is that they often find it difficult waiting their turns. They don't like to join lines, to stand there and wait in lines. It's become very uncomfortable for them. And a lot of time adults will say to me, I go to this place and there's a line, I just leave. I can't take it. I will try to come back when the line is shorter, and then they may wait a little bit to get to get to where they want to go, but they really find it difficult to wait their turn and stay in a lineup. Right? So these are some symptoms of hyperactivity, impulsivity, and also some symptoms of inattention. Along with these symptoms in making a diagnosis, these symptoms must cause a functional impairment. That is, these symptoms are going to impact the social, occupational, and academic functioning of an individual before a diagnosis is given. Also, these symptoms must be present before the age of 12. So when I think of all these symptoms, and if these symptoms are present in multiple contexts, work, school, church, home, and these symptoms are also present before the age of 12, then with all of this, an individual may be given the diagnosis of ADHD. So hopefully this was helpful to help you to understand the symptoms and the diagnostic process of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Again, subscribe to the channel, ask your questions so we can answer your questions, so you can get the best treatment and get the best information and the best result, so you can live a happy, contented, and peaceful life if you have ADHD, or you can be helpful to individuals who may have ADHD. Thank you so much. Looking forward to hearing from you. Bye bye for now. Take care.